turning the profit, developing your people, finding new clients. What percentage of your day are you actually spending on doing the things that got you in the game to begin with?
How often do the phone calls you get correspond to what was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal?
A lot.
Kelly Fisher is the Chief Practice Partner over at Wipfli, a top 25 advisory firm with a strong CPA foundation serving over 59,000 clients.
People get nervous about what AI is going to do. A lot of the individuals that are in C-suite positions now are not necessarily the people who are the most educated on the topic of AI.
Do you think they should be?
I think they
Amplified expertise. What is it and why is it so important?
CEOs, C-suites, they want to talk to someone. We're looking at AI as more a way to help us amplify our expertise, get to market faster, leverage data to make better decisions.
What's your parting thought you would like to amplify?
Ooh.
Welcome back to CEO Tech Live. I'm your host, Ben Fanning, and this episode is brought to you by Hexaware. I've got a treat coming your way today with Kelly Fisher, who's the Chief Practice Partner over at Wipfli, a top 25 advisory firm with a strong CPA foundation serving over 59,000 clients. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ben. Good to talk to you again.
What is going on in the world? Change leadership. That's the name of the game right now. A lot of changes, a lot of leadership, a lot of need for leadership. How are you thinking through this right now?
It is the name of the game. I think when it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on, I think we're experiencing it in our own company. Our people are definitely feeling the change. Besides the legislative hits that are coming kind of every day, our people are trying to stay up on it, making sure that we're advising clients properly. We're thinking about it from our own business standpoint on top of what's happening in the emerging tech world. You can't go a couple hours without somebody dropping a new model or people talking about agentic and how it's going to change staffing models and business models. So a lot of stuff for business leaders to be navigating right now.
So when you wake up in the morning,
what time or?
What time? And because it's just an advisory job, an advisory company. It just seems like there's just, like you said, there's so much. What does your day look like? Because you've got to advise people, but you've also got to know what to advise them on based on what's happening. So how are you consuming information?
I read a lot. I'm a big podcast listener, actually, also, so that I can, walk the dog and do some other things while I'm consuming information. But it's trying to balance the things that are a little bit more future state versus still trying to stay focused on what you need to do today, turning the profit, developing your people, finding new clients. But just continually, I would say, consuming knowledge the static way, a little bit more of the reading, listening, but spending a lot of time, honestly, talking to other business leaders, other people in, the variety of industries, our clients, just to see what's on their mind.
So you must be very disciplined. Like, how do you?
It depends on the topic.
Well, I'm thinking it's so easy to sort of get sucked into something you're reading and like, an hour's pass by. I need to be. So you're like balancing this day of consumption versus advising. And an ideal day, like how's it structured? Because I think a lot of leaders need to run the business.
Yep, absolutely.
But they got to be aware of what's going on. So how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, one of the things that I started doing a little while ago, because at least for me, I always struggled in my role at times, losing sight of sometimes talking to people outside the organization. I have to spend a lot of time, obviously, working on our own business. So it's easy to get too much emphasis, honestly, sometimes on internal. So I have another leader that I was talking to a couple of years ago. I'm a visual learner. So some people might think I'm a degenerate gambler because they'll see me like playing with poker chips at times. But it was actually a way someone told me, you put the number of poker chips on one side of your desk of the number of touch points or conversations you want to have with people outside your firm. And by the end of the week, they all better be on the other side of your desk and where
Wow.
you're sitting. So I started doing that as just a reminder to not lose sight of it.
Okay, well, you just solved that, because everyone has always asked me, why is she gambling so
I know.
much at work? No, but I think it is interesting, because you have got to build in that habit of internal versus external.
Yep.
And where is the value of an advisory firm? Like, where do you think the sweet spot of when you as an advisory firm leader like are at your best and you're delivering the most value?
Yeah, I think we talk about it internally. It's always important with your clients to talk about, help them get the answers to questions that they have, but honestly, helping them think through the questions they're not asking is even more valuable. And I think that's probably the tale of a true advisor, when you help them think of the things they haven't thought about.
Ask the question.
Ask the questions.
And so where do you draw the line in terms of, okay, that's a great question. Now answer it for me and tell me exactly what I should do. Like, okay, how much time do we have for all this? How far do we go?
Right. And I think that's part of the extension of the kind of C-suite executives. If they're, no client wants to be constantly looking to us to solve their problems. I think that's one of the things. Executives are always looking for, it's a lonely job a lot of times. They're looking for people who can help them think through things, brainstorm, ideate.
Yes.
So they're not always looking for answers. They're just looking for thought partnership at times.
Love that. So is there an example that comes to mind of a specific change that you've helped a company through recently, or maybe something that you faced internally and be able to work through it?
Yeah, I think especially with what's happening from an AI standpoint, like we were chatting on, you can't kind of go a couple hours without somebody dropping a new technology, new solution, things like that. So a lot of our conversations with executives now are, how do they have to think about the business disruption side of things, even if the tech's not there yet? How do they have to think about new learning and development models? Are their staffing forecasts going to be different? What different skills do their people need? And does what they provide the market today at risk of being compressed from a pricing standpoint or eliminated? So helping them think through kind of the next 0 to 3, 5 year thought process, particularly from a transformation standpoint. And we're going through the same exercise.
So you had to narrow it down. What are the biggest concerns that people are calling with regarding AI? And I know AI means like about a million different things right now, but
it definitely does.
Like, what are the leaders calling in with?
A lot of them have been afraid that they're far behind because of a lot of the things that they're reading. There's sometimes a decent amount of hype out there on what the possibility is. I know, imagine that.
Yes. Okay.
So they're making sure that they're not falling behind, I think, is one of the first things that they generally want to talk through. And then the reality of, I would say, moving things out of the smaller testing, experimenting mode into something that they can actually deploy at an enterprise level or operationalize.
When you say falling behind, are they concerned more about falling behind, like specific as to their competitors or to their industry, or what? How are they?
I think it depends on who
that?
you're talking to.
Okay.
If it's somebody that's not the CEO, they're worried that the CEO will think they're falling behind because
Okay,
of
well,
everything they're reading.
that's what I was thinking about. That's okay, yeah.
Or their board members are asking them in board meetings, what are we doing about it? How are we thinking about it? So they want to have a different confidence level, because a lot of the individuals that are in C-suite positions now are not necessarily the people who are the most educated on the topic of AI. So it can be an uncomfortable spot for executives to try to navigate when they're the ones who have to answer the questions, but they're not the experts.
Do you think they should be on AI? Is it that important where they should become the expert in the company?
Think they should. I think most of them should be at a very high proficiency level on it. They don't necessarily have to be hands-on keyboard people, but I think that if the executives are not demonstrating the usage of it themselves and talk about it openly on the ways that they're thinking about it and using it, then I think that's a shortcoming.
So other than talk to Kelly, which is a good answer, how do they get to that place? Like, how do they get there? I guess, and also how do they get there quickly?
Yeah, I think part of it is there has to be a level of self-learning and self-motivation on it, candidly, so that intentionality, they're going to have to start doing some version of reading or at least experimenting, even if it's in your personal life. There's a ton of consumers who will use it for, help me plan my trip. There's safe ways to kind of enter into it, even if you're not comfortable. But for executives, there's also a lot of kind of classes and education specifically built for executives around GenAI. So I think it's a combo of try to learn some things, pay more attention to some of the articles, podcasts, especially ones that are specifically talking about your industry, and then just try it.
Yeah, it's time to get on board. It just sounds like it's something too important to delegate.
It is, I agree.
Like it's a responsibility for every leader across every functionality. And if you're the CEO, well, that is you too.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Whether you think it's an opportunity or a risk, you got to pay attention to it.
So a question that's on my mind here is, how often do the phone calls you get correspond to what was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal of the day?
A lot. Probably at least 50%.
Okay. Any other high corresponding publications other than the Wall Street Journal, or is that the one where you're like, okay, oh my gosh, this was the front page?
We work with a lot of business owners, so it's usually something like Wall Street Journal or different industry journals that they're reading, but Wall Street's probably the most prevalent.
So, and it's funny and everything, but I think leaders got to take that seriously. Like, especially if you're in your organization or if you're a CEO, your board, they're reading that front page or like the 10 point.
Yep.
And if you do not look at that every day, you're probably going to get a phone call, and you better know, like, have a response, because that's just like,
it's a lot of people's source of knowledge.
and like, it's so easy. It's like, but people don't do it.
Yep.
It's so important. Well, what is a term that you talk a lot about is amplified expertise. What is it, and why is it so important?
That's how we're talking about and thinking about how AI is going to change Wipfli. There's a lot of people get nervous about what AI is going to do from our people. I think there was a study that I read a couple weeks ago where something like 45+% of Gen Xers are admitting to sabotaging their company's GenAI initiatives. So
wait, what? Why? Are they just angry at it?
No, fear of what it's going to do for job loss or job protection, or they think that's a big part of where their value is possibly tied up in.
Like self-protection, self-preservation. Type.
Yeah, so not like, they're trying to like cyber attack. They just
like, we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
Whenever they put this into Chat GPT.
Yeah, I can get it to say something stupid.
Yeah.
No, but they just won't kind of refusal to use it, not necessarily fast on an adoption curve. So for us, the amplified expertise is a big part of our kind of mission, and we believe differentiation with our clients is still relationship based. Just like CEOs, C-suites, they want to talk to someone. So we're looking at AI as more a way to help us amplify our expertise, get to market faster, consume more information faster, leverage data to make better decisions. So we call that amplified expertise.
Yeah, for the leaders listening, I think we should not assume that everyone in the company thinks AI is great.
No.
Even if they're using it in their personal life, don't assume that they see the possibilities of it at work.
Yep.
Because they might see it as a force of evil versus goodness.
They will.
What can happen?
That's possible.
So how are you, and I'm assuming you're probably talking to leaders about how they need to talk about it to the rest of their company. What are some of the key ideas that you're imparting to them that they need to be communicating to the broader organization?
Yeah, for us, we talk about it a lot on most people when they get into a firm that's a CPA and advisory firm. You kind of remind them on the why they got into their profession, why they joined Wipfli, and talk a little bit about what percentage of your day are you actually spending on doing the things that got you in the game to begin with? What percentage of your life are you spending with bring the joy back to the everyday experiences that you're wanting to do? Bring the joy back to bring more to your day that you actually love doing. And usually that's interacting with clients, interacting with associates. It's not reconciling spreadsheets or writing your 800th email of the day.
That's such a great, I think, a helpful way to think about it. We'll ask, let them, telling them, hey, this is going to be great for you versus, hey, think about the possibilities for you. Before you start using all the AI and you start getting into this deeply, think about the possibilities of the work you could be doing.
Yep.
And let them crystallize in their mind what that's going to be. And they're probably going to do a lot better job at leveraging the AI tools if they've specifically recognized what they're going to get to go doing at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we as leaders have to help with that aspect of it, but candidly, we have to do a much better job on setting the organization up from an infrastructure, a data, a readiness side of it. So I think it's the organization has a lot that they have to do, and then we need individuals to focus on the things that you just articulated.
So what's it been like working with Hexaware?
Yeah, Hexaware, we actually are going to be kicking off an AI project this week together.
Goody.
So, yep.
All right, let's go.
So it's been great, again, in my role. I like having thought partners, and that's what I get from the Hexaware group, especially with some of these emerging technologies. It's good to have other people who are paying attention to the market and the trends like I am and get, second and third and fourth perspectives on things. So
starting to wind this up. What's your parting thought that you would like to amplify?
Ooh, don't forget to take some risks. I think that whether it's executives on things that they were already using, knowing, doing, try something different. Even if you fail, it's going to be okay.
All right, here we go. You heard it right from Kelly. Thanks for coming on CEO Tech Live,
it's great
Kelly.
seeing you again. Thanks.